In this video I will show you 2 easy ways to fit an external socket without having to run any ugly cables around your house. If you live in a new build, the chances are that you will have one of these boxes outside your house, and if you have, part 1 of this video will show you a very quick and easy way to add an external socket. If you don't have one of these boxes outside your house, you might want to skip to part 2 for a different method. The first and probably the most important step is to make sure that you turn off the electric to the socket that you are working on. If you are not sure which one it is, play it safe and turn them all off. In my fuse box there is a breaker labeled garage, so I know it is the correct one, but I still checked that none of the lights or sockets in the garage worked after I turned it off. You will need around 30 centimeters of twin and earth cable and about 5 centimeters of earth sheathing. This is the one I used. This is the socket I will be using. For this location, I only need a single socket. I will be having more sockets around the garden for different things. I got this socket from Amazon and I will put a link in the description. To start with, we need to remove the front cover to expose the wires that we need. The screws on these boxes usually only need a quarter turn to undo them. You will need to make a hole in the side of the new box to allow the cables to pass through into the box, and you will also need to knock out the screw holes too. You just need to line up the entry hole in the side of the grey box with the exit hole in the black box and then mark through the fixing holes onto the wall. You will need a 6mm masonry bit and a hammer drill to drill the for fixing holes. You will also need 4x6mm Rawl plugs and 4x30mm screws to fix the box to the wall. The black box should have a rubber grommet in the side, so you should only need to make a slit in the rubber to push the cable through. Slide the grey box over the cable and attach it to the wall using the 4x30mm screws. Now it's time to strip the cables. I highly recommend this type of wire stripper as they work really well and save a ton of time. I will add a link to a set on Amazon. The wires just match up blue to blue, brown to brown and green and yellow to green and yellow. Depending on what cable you buy, you may need to add a sheath to the earth wire. Make sure that the wires are cut to the correct length and are fully pushed in. Give them a tug to make sure they are securely fastened. Once you have checked all of the wires are secure, you can just replace the cover. Then it's just the same again to put the wires into the grey box and then screw the cover on, and that's it. If you don't have these black boxes outside your house, there is another way which is explained in part 2 of this video. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe. Part 2. If you made it this far, then you probably don't live in a new build or you don't have a black box outside your house with the cables already in it. As before, you will need a short length of twin and earth cable. The second way is almost as easy and you still don't need to run any cables, but you will just need to have an internal socket on a wall that goes to the outside, and the external socket will have to go behind it. Very important to make sure that you turn off the correct breaker, and as before, if you are not sure which one it is, turn them all off. Firstly, you will need to remove the socket from the wall. If it has been painted up to before, you may need to cut along the edges with a Stanley knife. You will see here that there are silver circles at the back and along the bottom. These are cable entry or exit holes. Use the 16mm drill bit to drill through the back of the box, through the internal wall, the cavity, and then through the external wall. You will need to keep the drill bit angled slightly downwards towards the outside just in case any moisture ends up on the cable. It should drain to the outside of the house. When the drill has made it all the way to the outside of the house, leave it there and do not pull it back out. Now go outside and take some masking tape or gaffer tape and attach the cable to the end of the drill bit and then pull it back through the hole, making sure that you leave some cable outside. Then as before, strip the cable and insert the wires into the back of the socket, remembering to give the wires a tug to make sure that they are secure. Then put the socket back onto the wall and go outside to finish off. His is the socket we chose for this side of the garden. They are pretty ugly, but they need to look like this to be waterproof. We got this one from B&Q, but you can get them from Amazon too. I have put a link in the description to a similar one. You can either drill a hole in the back and the four corners of you can knock the center out using a screwdriver. When we drilled from the inside to the outside, 2 pieces of brick came off, so I am just gluing them back in place. It is not really necessary because the socket will cover it, but it is there and I have some glue, so I'm going to do it. As before, mark through the holes onto the wall, then drill 4 by 6 mm holes and put in 4 by 6 mm Rawl plugs and 4 by 30 mm screws to hold the back plate to the wall. I put some sealant around the holes to help prevent water ingress, and I drilled a small hole in the bottom to act as a drainage hole in case any water did get in. The socket came with some rubber grommets to cover the hole, so I put them on. Then it was just a case of putting the 3 wires into the face plate in the correct places. The wires just match up blue to blue, brown to brown and green and yellow to green and yellow. Depending on what cable you buy, you may need to add a sheath to the earth wire. The terminals on this socket are color-coded brown, blue and green yellow, but some sockets may be labeled as L, E, and N for live, earth and neutral. And then screwing the faceplate to the back plate. Now you can turn the electric back on at the breaker and test that everything is working. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe.